Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We're looking forward to hearing from Pastor Paul and hearing about an update with our PeaceNEXT. So I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Paul as soon as I let you know that you should have a calendar of events. So if you haven't got one, there's one on the music stand back there. But we have a lot of good things coming up this fall. And our potluck starts in September, so that's pretty exciting. So we look forward to that. But in the meantime, I'm going to have you say a prayer and turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Well, let's start the evening off with a word of prayer. Gracious God, you have been so faithful to us, and the way that you have walked with us in times of adversity as well as times of blessing, for leading us to this place, into this congregation, and into this family of faith, where we have found tangible support, signs of your love in the people that we share this ministry with. Thank you not only for calling us to this place, but also for giving us purpose as we serve our community and one another in your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. First off, just a very big thank you for those of you who are in person. I knew that we were going to have I had a number of people say they were going to climb online to watch here tonight, but I know from those early COVID days that preaching to an empty sanctuary is a little challenging. It's much nicer to have some faces to look at and get reactions from. And welcome to those of you who are online as well. I'm so glad that you're taking the time to log on and see what's going on. I want to talk tonight a little bit, just very briefly, to how we got to this point of wanting to do a project like PeaceNEXT. And then I've got lots of floor plans and architectural renderings that are new since the last time we were up here to talk about, so you can even get a better idea of what the project is going to look like. We have been through different phases of architectural process. We've been through the schematic phase, we've been through the design phase, and the architect is currently working on construction drawings to hand over to the contractor to start building the project. So we're pretty far along on that part as well. And I'm going to be stopping along the way to entertain questions as we go. But the very first thing I just wanted to bring up is thinking about how we got here tonight is, see if my clicker works, is to remember that this building that we oftentimes have to focus attention on, the building, it has always been about the mission and the ministry here at Peace. Starting back with that very first unit that was completed in 1965, it was a rectangle of a building just on the other side of the sanctuary there. I am told at the time it was built that 41st Street was a gravel road, and that B&G Milky Way was an office of the Penny's Lumber Yard that was across the way, and they loaned it out to Peace on Sunday mornings, and the kids would have to go down the ditch and over the gravel and down the ditch and go into that office and have Sunday school classes, because we had a lot of families from the get-go and not a lot of place to have classes. And so the very next thing they built in 1973 was what we call the Fellowship Hall, but that was actually the sanctuary. Served as the sanctuary of Peace Lutheran for 25 years. And along that, built some classrooms that went down and started to meet some of the need of our Sunday school. Well, that lasted till about 1984, where they said, we are way, way, way short of classrooms. And they built off a wing on the south end of the building, kind of an L-shaped addition that added, there's at least 12 more classrooms that came with that addition. And then things really changed in 98. We realized that the sanctuary, now Fellowship Hall, that the sanctuary, we were running 3 services on Sunday morning and 1 service on Saturday, and we were packing them in, so to speak. It just was not big enough. So in 98, the congregation, and it was a bold move for a congregation of about 800, no, 1,600, about 1,600 members to say we will commit the funds we need to build the sanctuary that we have enjoyed here for almost another 25 years. 98 is when we began using this sanctuary. And the gathering space outside, it was a game changer. It really did. It made, all of a sudden, Peace Lutheran became not just a West Side church, but it became a city church. The sanctuary attracted people from all over the city, and they found their way here. And what they found here was, there was a beautiful sanctuary, but they found you guys. They found people who embodied the mission and ministry of Peace Lutheran as a place where all are welcomed, and with kind of low on the pretense scale and high on the welcome scale, and it became their home. And they came big time. Our population or membership just kind of continued to grow by 200 members or so a year. And yes, before long we said, we don't have enough classrooms. You can see how this goes. And so in 2004, we built a classroom and office suite addition. And with that extra space, we built it in mind that, we really would like to operate a daycare here. And we're going to build this new part right so that we can actually do a full day daycare and not just a preschool and not just an after school, which we had been running both of those. And so that addition in 2004 made that a possibility, and knowing that, particularly on the west side, there was a huge need amongst parents. Households where both mom and dads are working, desperate for childcare, not enough available childcare, and we wanted to have a quality program that we'd be able to offer parents at competitive rates, and they filled. It has never had a vacant spot since, and there's been a waiting list to get into our Peace Care daycare. Since then, since 2004, we purchased 5 properties out to the west and got the city to vacate Cambridge Avenue, and that became our west parking lot. And that was no small endeavor, but we did it, and I've been enjoying that as well. And it's always been about trying to meet the needs of the ministry by making this the place big enough to house the ministry that takes place here. And sometimes that meant the parking lot had to be big enough in order to house the ministry that takes place on this site. So it's been about the ministry. So about 4 years ago, we asked the staff, we asked parents who participated in the different programs. They said, where are the pinch points that you feel in our ministry? Where, if there's something about the facility that could change, what would you like it to change? And one of the things they came up with, after worship, it is so packed out there, we feel like we have to get out to make room for other people to get in. How nice would it be if we had a little backwater place that we could actually sit down at tables and have a little coffee? And so they said, please, an enlarged gathering space would make the kind of ministry that happens between members when we can sit down and ask each other, how's your week going? And how can we pray for each other? Because we know what's going on in each other's lives. I said, okay, check, enlarged gathering space. And they said, with that, a better fellowship hall space. I mean, we can do stuff down there, but of course, one of the things that the fellowship hall is not good for is teaching classes. The acoustics in there, you just can't do it without a microphone, and even then, it is just noisy. So we thought, if we could tweak the fellowship hall so that it would be another teaching place, that would be good. Oh, by the way, maybe more large teaching spaces. What you might not realize is that confirmation around here, still a big thing for Lutherans, and per grade level, the average size of grade levels coming up through the ranks is anywhere from 50 to 80 kids. And try to get them into a large space. We've taken over the sanctuary at 6:15 on Wednesday nights to do one class here, another large class down in the sanctuary. But boy, finding a place to teach our large confirmation classes would be very nice. And then as we talked to the different programs, the different ministries running here, they said, all of them said, boy, if we could have a space where we could have activities and kids could be kids and run around, that would be a huge thing. And in fact, you know, it would not only be good for us, but all of a sudden we could there would be a space that would also kind of make Peace light up as a place for the community, where they would say kids coming to Y-Ball or something, they would know where Peace Lutheran was at. And as we all know, once you've been in a church for a kids' activity, if you're looking to go to a church on a Sunday morning, you go to something that you're kind of already familiar with. So anyway, those were some of the goals that the Space Visioning team in 2018, 2019 came up with, amongst others, but those were the big ones. They finished their work. They passed the baton to a team that would, first of all, hire an architect, which they did, TSP here in Sioux Falls, who would take all those things that we said, these spaces that we wanted in an ideal church, and build it into a master plan. And you got to see some of those drawings back when they were all done, and everybody was in love with it. They said, this is just what we need. Of course, it was what we needed for about $14 million. So next year, we had another different team form. We called it the feasibility team because their job was to say, okay, for $7 million, what can you build? And they worked, one of the team members worked for Journey Construction, and he got his team working to give us estimates on some of the very, very rough estimates on some of the things we were planning. And we kind of got it down to where we thought, yeah, we can do these three spaces for $7 million. And so with that in hand, we came to the congregation in the fall of 21, winter of 22, and did our capital drive. Now you're up to date. That's the road it took for us to get there. And so I want to go back and just say, well, what was it the feasibility team came up with for $7 million? Well, we called it phase one because it wasn't the whole master plan. And we said, well, we're going to do that gym. We're going to do that family activity center. There was a lot of excitement around there by many of our members who were givers, saying this will be a game changer in our community outreach. And we're very excited about doing this, not only for us in Peace, but for what it means out for our connections to the community. And we wanted to build north they called it a new music hub, but really what it was is that we were taking the rehearsal area, the music rehearsal room, and 5 classrooms, and making space for them with new construction on the north, because what we wanted to do in the old rehearsal room and those 5 classrooms is to remodel it to expand our gathering space, that it would be a space with tables, and it would be connected to the kitchen, and there'd be coffee, and it was going to be wonderful. And that is what we were able to do with estimates at the end of 2020, beginning of 21, what $7 million would get you. Now, to be specific, out of that $7 million, 5.8 of it was actual construction costs. And the other 1.2 is what they call soft costs, the architect's fees, owner contingencies, which always happen when you get in the middle of a project. You say, you know, we really need that too. And you throw it in, but it costs money, as well as all the furnishings and equipment, the audios, the visuals, the chairs, the tables, and whatnot. And there are a few other things that go into there to make the other 1.2 million. So that's why we came to the congregation asking for $7 million. And as I said, that was the estimate for the construction estimate at the end of 2020, was that we can do that for $5.8 million. But the architect and the member who worked for Journey, warned me that Sioux Falls was booming and that construction costs in Sioux Falls annually increase 3.5% to 4%. So what we bid now, what we estimate now, a year from now is going to cost 4% more, just so you should know that. If only they had been true, only if they had been right. As of March, when we had got our new contract construction company on and they re-estimated the project, the construction part of it jumped from 5.8 to $7 million. That's a 17% increase. And that is totally due to what has been going on. The shortages that COVID supply lines caused, the Russian war in Ukraine and the increase in gas prices and whatever else you roll into it, it has been an unprecedented year. And both our architects and construction people have said we have never seen anything like this. We don't even know how to bid projects because I have never seen an increase in cost like this. And we kept thinking, why didn't we start a year earlier? But anyway, the timing is what it is. And we just felt like we didn't want to burden the congregation with that extra loan money because you got to pay that back. And $1.2 million more translates into quite a bit on monthly payments. And we didn't want to strap the ministry of the congregation, so we said, okay, let's see what we can do in terms of re-scoping the project. So we had the three things that we're going to build in phase one. We're going to do the new construction for the gym, Family Activity Center, the new construction for the music hub, which would make possible to remodel the gathering space. And as they looked at that, we got the feasibility team back together, and they said, well, what makes the most sense is to put on hold the remodeled gathering space, which was very, very hard because that part of the project was very near and dear to a large number of people in the congregation. We want that space to fellowship after worship. But here are some of the reasons they did that. Before we could remodel that space, we had to make space for those rooms anyway. So the music hub had to be built first because we just couldn't lose the space. We had to replace those rooms somewhere. So we knew the music hub had to be built first. And then the builder said, well, there are cost savings by doing both new projects at the same time. So we're not trying to bring equipment in at two separate times. And you'll save money if you do all your new construction at the same time. And lastly, remodeling an existing piece, even though that would involve a kitchen remodel, which is a huge deal, it's still going to be the easiest piece for you to do at a later time. And you get to decide what the later time is. So we went ahead and said, okay, I know you guys, people in the business, architects and builders alike, you don't want ifs, you want to know for sure. So I said, okay, for sure, we will guarantee that we will fund the two new construction pieces. So go ahead, plan those, draw up the plans, but we're going to see how much we can actually save in doing those, and if we can do it less than what they're being estimated at, the money we save, we're going to put into a place to fund the remodeling gathering space. And of course, I don't have an estimate for that, but the idea is that we're not going to wait 15 years to remodel that space. We're going to try to get at it as funds allowed. So basically, we're doing as much as we know that we can ask the congregation to do at this time, for sure. But then we are going to, as soon as feasible, as soon as we have money in the bank, we're not going to borrow it. We're going to raise it up front, but we're going to raise it and finish that remodeling project. So it won't be part of our loan, but we're going to try to do it in cash as we can raise it along the way. So that's the plan. Any questions so far? That's kind of, as far as the planning goes, the logic that has got us here to the middle of July. Any questions? Yes, Kathy. Yes, we can get a mic. They would love to hear what Kathy is asking. I was going to try to repeat all that, but this is This is better.
Kathy?
I'm thinking about when we pay the money back by the month, this first $7 million, how long is that going to take? Because we're going to try and save some during that time. Is that
That is correct.
How long is the loan for?
That was my big finish, but I go ahead. We don't need
I can
don't
wait.
need that
I
slide.
can wait.
Kathy, it is set up to be a 25-year loan, but there is no penalty with paying it off early. And I'll give you the specifics in terms of rates and all of that a little bit later on. But currently, at least for the first 5 years, our monthly payments will be less than $32,000. Now, that sounds like a lot, but we just came off of a debt reduction program, which is a very hard program to fund, and we were doing payments of somewhere between $15,000 and $17,000 every month. So it is double, but we will continue to do capital drives, every 2 years as we go through the program, and keep getting new folks to come on to being a part of it, and hopefully it'll accelerate it. It will have it paid off much sooner than 25 years. Okay, you stole some of my thunder from the end, but that's okay. That'll just make it run that much shorter. Any other questions? Okay, well, let's start looking what the plans came up with. Some of these you guys have seen, but this is kind of what we ended up with. It's different what's up here on the board. Up here on the board, we have this nice light blue remodeled gathering space, which is what we're hoping to do in cash. What you see up on the board is what the loan is going to pay. Down on the lower left in the kind of the brown tones, that's the Family Activity Center. We're going to zero in on that part first. And then up on the north end of the building, close to 41st Street, there's that nice green and purple block. That's what we're calling the Music Hub. So those are the two new pieces of construction that are happening, and they're just getting attached to existing parts of the building. So I'm going to zoom in on those parts a little bit better so you can see. And as I said, we're going to first talk about this this Family Activity Center. What you see, of course, the brown area is the actual gym floor itself. That little broken off piece above it is what they're calling a mezzanine. It is actually it's going to fit on top of those long rooms you see at the top of it. That you can access it with a stair ladder. And we can be up there to get for storage, and there's actually a roof access there. So that's what that little detached part is. Underneath that long rectangle on the left is storage for equipment. The tiny little room is the janitor or custodial closet, and the room with a white rectangle on it, that's actually going to be a concessions area with a serving window, which, would be kind of fun as a fundraiser if there are events going on, or if we ever had a really large funeral that we had to set up in there, that would be a place we could kind of manage a serving line from as well. We'd have to set up tables and whatnot to serve, but it could be a temporary kitchen serving area. So that's pretty good. I'm most excited about those teal or turquoise rooms that are kind of going down the side. What you maybe can't see is that they are actually 3 restrooms. Up on top, it's the women's restroom, and then a family restroom in between, and a men's restroom below. And what makes this so good is that when we have outside groups using the gym, which we anticipate they will, in fact, we estimate that rent from outside groups using the gym, as we've talked to other churches in the area that do that, will amount to about $25,000 a year. And so there will be outside groups using the gym, not exclusively, because we have our programs too. But when they come into the west entrance, marked up there yellow at the top of it, they will be able to come into the gym and use the restrooms and have access to no other part of the church. They will be kind of contained into that area, and that makes security issues much more manageable. So it's very self-contained. They have a kitchen there, a serving window at least. They have restrooms, and they have the gym. The brown little rooms at the bottom have to do with redesigning the Peace Care or Daycare's director office and a new entrance for parents and kids using the daycare. So that yellow part at the bottom of that, that's the new Peace Care entrance. It goes straight in line with the Peace Care director's office. You'll have total visual access as people are coming and going. And then her current office becomes a work area, and they have a little storage, equipment storage of their own. As they use the gym, they can have an access to get to the gym through their storage area as well. And Dale, you get to be Phil Donahue this time. You can shout, but people online can't hear what you're saying.
You said that the gym there is going to...
You just have to point it towards your mouth.
You're going to use this gym for rent out to use for like a basketball court or various things. I don't see any place for spectators.
For spectators, well, that's because you've never been to a Y-ball game in Sioux Falls. I will say, as a parent of Y-ballers, they set chairs around the wall, and it's a pretty big gym if your feet aren't in the basketball court. That is kind of how Y-ball is done in Sioux Falls. So part of that storage area will be racks and racks of chairs that we will make available and pull out for basketball games. I know. No, there are definitely no bleachers or stands. Thank you for pointing that out. Other questions? Adam has an observation. Adam has been part of our design team.
So just one note on that. In the future, the mezzanine will be accessible from the second floor, and there'll be some observation. You'll be able to come out and observe from above. So
the mezzanine will become an observation deck.
Yep.
Accessible for people to watch what's going on down below.
In the future.
In the future. We'll have an elevator up to the second floor, too. It'll be like a balcony. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Now, I've got some, the architects have liked this space, so they have some renderings going on here. This first rendering is kind of like a bird's eye view from the south wall looking north. Some of the things you might see out there, well, first of all the wall pads that are part of the project, we're putting those on for safety. All of the basketball hoops you see are retractable. You can see the storage area, garage door on the left. You can see the serving window on the right. And the main entrance into the gym are those doorways in the upper right. You can also see just a maze of lines on the floor. The blue lines mark out a full-size court, middle school size court. If you want to look at the brown lines, those are the side-to-side courts. They're not official size anything, but you can still play side to side and have two baskets to shoot from. Some of you who are pickleballers are looking at those white lines. We've drawn in 4 pickleball courts in the gym, and if you're really good, there's a gray line in there to mark off two volleyball courts that we're going to have places into the floor where we can put the nets for volleyball. Or maybe it's one volleyball court. I think it's one volleyball court. So it is going to be designed to be used for a lot of different activities. Now we're going to look at the south wall. It has a special feature on it. Part of the finishing is going to be a different texture so we can project movies on there. Because sometimes the Family Activity Center will be the Family Movie Center, and with the sound system to boot. Also, this angle gives you an idea of the balcony. You can see up there with the railing up high, And of course the windows that are going to bring in some natural light. And the last cool feature is that you can divide the whole thing with a net, a curtain that comes down, so that you can actually run 2 different events on either side of that net, and they won't bother each other. So yeah, they really have been thinking through those things. And I think I have next, any questions about any of that? I'm going to show you some exteriors, but Jackie, you have a question. She's right on the spot.
You had said there was a door going into the gym that was on the top right-hand corner up there. Okay, so if you divide that off for 2 different activities, if they're coming in from the outdoors, how are they going to get to the other?
That's good. What we can't see on that curtain is, though the curtain looks like it goes all the way against the wall, and we can't see how far it goes against the wall here on the east side, they are going to leave a passageway there so that you can get from one court to the other. Great. You could be part of the team, Jackie. That's a very good forward-thinking question. Any other questions on that part? So then here are some drawings of the exterior. This is the west entrance. Like I said, the main entrance people will use for the gym. You notice on the exterior of the building, they picked up that peace logo and that cross. It was originally designed, and it will still be a part of when, 15 years from now, we build the 2-story Faith Formation Center. That cross then will be right next to 41st Street. But since we're not building it now, we said, could you still put a cross on this end of the building? And a cross that would, yes, light up at night? They said, yeah, we can do that. So there would be a close-up of the west entrance kind of at night, cross lit up, kind of welcoming people into that entrance. You see the band of windows across the top there on the west side. Then if we come around to the south side looking at the gym, you can't see it very well, but on the very right side is the location of the new playground. You can see some trees and playground equipment there. We're losing the 2 playgrounds on the north side of the building and putting them side by side together on the south side of the building. And this door becomes the new daycare entrance right next to the gym. And when you step inside, got a nice little foyer. That hallway actually is what we currently call the southwest door into the building. That's that hallway. And we're just accessing it with a foyer now. So that's the Family Activity Center. Okay. So then any thoughts or questions about that? Yes, Kathy. I got to think what you mean by the back entrance. Oh, on the west. Oh, right. No, that door stays. We no. They are going the part that is the yellow part between the fellowship hall and the gym. It's marked in yellow. That is a new entry space. So they actually are going to make it more of a room instead of a vestibule. And and you can kind of still see the second set of doors are actually, there won't be doors there, but that place is that angle is still in place. As I said, people who are using the gym, they're going to be all our entrances are going to be key carded entrances. So, people using it will be given a key card for that door only. So if you get a key card, you're going to get to swipe it, and you'll get into that entrance and be able to access the gym. But your key card won't work at the next set of doors that will get you into the rest of the church. And so every door will have its own key, so to speak, a key card. So we can, daycare parents will have a key card so they can go pick up their kids, but it's only going to work at that door at certain hours. It's all programmable. We can make it, these cards only work at these doors during these hours. Good question. By the way, during construction, that west door that we all love so much, Monday through Friday, you cannot use. It is a construction zone. But the construction company is going to, on Friday night, create a corridor to get from the parking lot on the west side into the west, so that you can still park on the west and still access the church Saturdays and Sundays only. And we're going to live that way for about a year. So let's go up to look at that music hub. The purple area is actually the music part of the music hub. The big room up on the upper right is the new music rehearsal area. Right beneath it is a music storage area, file cabinets and instruments. The purple on the left is the music director's office. That gray area is just boring mechanical room stuff. Anyway, stuff that's important to keep the comfort. The other 5 green rooms below it are like I said, to replace the rooms that we're going to vacate to enlarge the gathering space. We had 3 small rooms and 1 big room that we had to replace, and they all got a little bigger in the build-out, which I love. And we picked up a bonus room that now has a representation of some white tables in there, which we are dubbing the quilter's room. And with some built-in shelves on the east side where they can store their finished quilts, some behind doors, some out in the open to see how pretty they are. It's going to be a hard surface floor in there so other crafters can use it when the quilters are not in there. And we don't have a room like that for adult crafts and quilting. So we're kind of excited that that's going to be a space. And they made sure that they had at least a room that you can just leave up 2 permanent tables all the time. And if you got a bigger crew than that, though they didn't put a door between the spaces, they did add a door to the large classroom into the hallway, so it's a little shorter walk from the quilter's room into that large space. All the classrooms will have audio visual capabilities, monitors, computer access, and everything you need to teach modern days now. And they did an interior, well, first of all, any questions about those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rooms, 6 big rooms? Yes, Jackie. Here comes the microphone.
Okay, of course, I'm looking at the music section. Is the square footage of that rehearsal space about the same? Will there be room? Because I know 2 other people have like little part-time office sections in the current music room.
They do.
So is that figured into there?
What they have done with that, actually in the 2000, when we get to do the full build-out, Jackie, some of these classrooms now get changed into music offices.
Okay.
But in the short run, they are putting in, they're making a workstation here, just like the current rehearsal area.
Okay.
Daria has a workstation here. Bob's got an office. But that's not the permanent plan. The permanent plan is to have an additional music office.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this first phase was just trading 1 for 1, kind of trying to replace what we have until we can do the Faith Formation edition. But we did pick up a quilter's room. Hey, not too bad. We have some here's an inside rendering of that rehearsal space. Nice acoustical tile and both sound absorption and sound deflection panels throughout. Not a tiered step. The music department said we'd rather have a flat floor than a tiered floor for our rehearsals. And it is got a hard surface as well, because you know those brass players, they just say they need a hard surface for cleanup afterwards. Anyway, but it'll be a very appealing in there. And then we have a view from the outside coming from east to west on 41st Street. Those nice windows. The door is actually going. That door was required by fire code because the room was going to be so big, but the room got smaller. So the door goes away, but the windows stay. And the view coming from the west to the east, it kind of looks like that. kind of nicely appealing either way. Contrast of contours and colors there. Yeah. So those are the two spaces that are getting built. And that, believe it or not, there will probably be equipment rolling on site by the end of August, which is just like 5 weeks away. We have planned to do a groundbreaking ceremony Sunday, August 28th. It's our usual Blessing Our Bible Sunday. There's usually a lot of people around. Kids are getting Bibles. We're going to make Blessing Our Bibles turn into Blessing Our Building, and because we want to keep it all about Bob. And we're going to make it a grand event. In fact, the next neighborhood block party, which we have been doing on Wednesdays, we're going to invite them Sunday morning, and we're going to invite them to our outdoor worship service, and then we're all going to do the groundbreaking, and then hot dogs and inflatables, and it'll be just kind of a party for the whole neighborhood as we do the groundbreaking and get things started. The construction company is going to fence off the 1/3 of our west parking lot, the north third, taking that over for the next 12 months. And so we'll get used to it. I'm still trying to figure out how to get to Peace Lutheran. They've taken away 41st Street. They've taken away Gibson. And now they say on Monday they're taking away Valley View. So anyway, I will still find my way here. And so just having to choose a different driveway into the parking lot, I think I can adapt to that for the next year. Okay, to get to Kathy's question, how do we do this? Well, the capital drive we did, 2-year capital fund drive, we received almost $1.2 million in gifts, cash gifts, and 2-year pledges. That was a great, we were looking for $1 million to make this work so that we could borrow $6 million. Hopefully we don't have to borrow all $6 million, but we are cleared for a $6.1 million loan from the Mission Investment Fund of the ELCA. And they usually don't lock people in until they're ready to close, and they won't close until the construction company gives us a guaranteed maximum price, which they won't do till October, but they were raising rates in July. So I said at the end of June, is there any way you could lock us in? And they said, for you, my friend, and I think we happen to be the biggest loan they're making here this year or in several years, they say, we will lock you in. And so we got locked in for a 3.875%. Now, it's a 25-year loan, but the MIF and no lender I found will give you a fixed rate for 25 years. What they do instead is something that I have found out. They call it a 5-year adjustable loan, which means it's a 25-year loan. But every 5 years, wherever the interest clock is at that point, boing, that's your new interest rate for the next 5 years. And then 5 years down the road, it's boing, and that's your new interest rate for the next 5 years. So we had a choice between 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, differing rates. And we thought, well, whatever waters we're sailing into that are making rates go up right now, we're hoping they'll be back down again within 5 years. And we won't be too far off the 3.875%. Monthly payments figure out to be that, but during construction, we are only paying interest on whatever money we borrow. And we just borrow it as we need it. You know, we get the bill from McGough Construction, and we turn around and tell MIF, we need this much money to pay the bill. Now, they send it along the way, all the way up to $6.1 million. And that, I believe, is about as much information as they have. Yes, Darla. Oh, wait. Except they can't hear you at home. So we have to keep passing the mic just because we have people tuning in.
Okay, so, and you may have said this, but I missed it. I've been trying to absorb a lot. But what is the period or estimated period of construction time?
Oh,
for this?
I did say that.
Okay.
McGough is saying this is be 12 months. I have to say something about McGough, something very positive about TSP. In fact, the lead on the project at TSP is Tim Jensen, a member of our congregation. And, both McGough and TSP understood that time was not on our side, that these construction prices were just increasing by the month. And the interest rates everybody saw that they were going up. And so in order to get this project in the ground, going, what TSP did said is we're going to fast track a bid package that is everything in the ground up, all the foundation work, all the utilities work. We're going to give you construction drawings at the end of July for all that stuff. And then we'll work on the other construction drawings that will be done by the end of October. And so what that means is that very shortly here, McGough is going to be able to bid out our project to local subcontractors, and depending on what those local subcontractors' schedules are, we will be accepting bids and starting construction as early as the end of August, probably by the middle of September. So that's, it's still going to take 12 months, but they have worked really, really hard to get the startup date to happen as soon as possible to keep our costs down.
One more.
Yes.
So during the period of construction, where you had mentioned that we would only have access from the west door on Sunday, there's a lot of entrances there on Wednesday nights for confirmation and Sunday school and things. So what will be their closest entrance then?
I know. McGough doesn't know about confirmation yet, but you bring up a good point. On Wednesday nights, I'm going to see if I can negotiate with McGough that they would also make that corridor available on Wednesdays, just because Wednesday nights around here are every bit as busy as Sunday morning. If you've never been here on a Wednesday night, same number of people here over a 2 or 3 hour stretch as there are on Sunday morning. So having access from the west would be really smart on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, because we drop our granddaughter off on Wednesday nights a lot. And that west side is just busy, busy, busy getting in and out with kids and people.
Yeah.
So.
I think that becomes part of, we do a Zoom meeting every week with TSP and McGough, and we have ours tomorrow at 4:30. I'm going to bring that up, darling. We need a Wednesday night corridor, see if they would let us do that. Yes, Brian.
I think the last slide you said that the Capitol Drive generated, what, 1.1 million?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be, my wife and I are new to the congregation and so forth, and, you're probably going to be getting more people. Or maybe you said, will the Capitol Drive just continue, or is it done and the rest is going to be in loans?
No.
How's that going to work?
Did I pay you to say that? What a nice setup you gave. Currently, Brian, yeah, I could buy a record. Well, we have a lot of excitement in the congregation, but that hasn't translated into every household. They haven't just gotten around to doing that yet. So certainly part of our fall, we do a fall pledge campaign for the ministry every year. And this year we will put on top of that an opportunity for people who haven't started their pledging for the PeaceNEXT project. You will get an opportunity officially to do so. No one's going to stop you now, but there is going to be an official ask in this fall to climb on board. And then, of course, a year from, in the spring of 2023, the 2-year pledge is up, and we'll be working another drive. I don't know if we'll do it separate or we're going to start trying to coordinate drives to go with our regular fall campaign. Haven't figured that out yet. But MIF was very interested to know that we would continue every 2 years to have a capital campaign to keep the funds coming in. And with the excitement, hopefully, so that we can do it at an accelerated rate. Yes, Dale.
Longer term. We talked about
Long term?
longer term. Yes. This is only the first part of a longer term program, right?
Yes. It's phase 1 of the master plan. And we can't really do phase 2 till we pay off phase 1. So however long that takes.
So are you saying that we're waiting for 25 years to pay off to get a second one?
That would be, knowing Peace Lutheran, that would be the worst case scenario. I do not believe it will take 25 years to do that. But that's the loan is a 25-year loan. But I'm fairly confident we will have it paid off before then.
Okay. Well, so this is a very long-term project then. I mean.
Yes, the master plan. It wouldn't be long-term if somebody just had the $15 million up front. Then we could do it all at once. But given our current giving base, yeah, it's going to take 2 swipes at it. People keep telling me they're playing the lottery, but they are not doing very well. Oh, Gary, right to you.
When you talk about construction, there's certain things that you can do without dismantling anything that we have now. Will they start to remove some outside walls or inside walls or things like that in the process of getting this, especially that music hub, built on that side?
As I understand it, no exterior walls are actually coming down, and a lot of it is due to fire code reasons. These new places are going to be their own fire zones, and so you have to have I was surprised at this. You actually have a wall of each zone has to have their own wall. So we're not taking down any walls. We're just putting up new walls right next to the old walls.
But are we going to lose some accessibility to some of the things that happen on this corner out here now?
Yes. The part that we'll lose access to is, some of you know that back hallway where we store chairs, and it's actually a hallway that leads out to the playground for the Peace Care. We will lose that. I won't be able to take a shortcut through that hallway anymore. That's a construction zone when things get started. I'll have to go around the coffee corner like everybody else.
Does it impact the classrooms that are down that hallway back in there?
No,
okay.
They will still have access to the classrooms.
Right. Yeah.
It's just that corner is going to be blocked off, so you won't be able to use the passage.
All right.
These are excellent questions. And I will tell you that we've had, again, to sit in the room with the people who have to think of all these details. And I have been paying attention. But it's not just me. Pastor Jonathan has wanted to be a part of this process. He'd be here tonight, except he's in North Carolina with 26 other people starting their fun-filled week. But Pastor Jonathan has been very pivotal. There has been a lot asked of staff to provide information on a weekly basis. We feel like we have to include these architects and construction people on our Christmas card list because we're just spending so much time with them. But they are doing such a wonderful job thinking ahead on all these design features and what it should look like. Any other thoughts? Well, then I want to end with where I began. That every building project we do, it's not about putting up more building. By the way, fun fact, Peace Lutheran already covers 1 acre under its roof. So we are now going over the acre mark with these 2 new additions. But it's not about that part. It's not about how big of a building we can get, but it's about the ministry that it's going to make possible. The Music Hub is going to make possible one day that expanded gathering area and a chance for members to have a place where they can connect, not only on Sunday mornings, but I could see those being a conversation place where you might have a small group to say, hey, we're meeting here during the week, and we'll grab a table in the new gathering space, and there's always a pot of coffee on and a plate of cookies and or something like that, and it'll become a conversational center for members throughout the week. And of course, that family activity center, not only a whole new dimension again to the health and wellness of our own members, but it is basically just telling the community around us that we have a place for you here. And I have just loved this congregation through the summer as we've had these community block parties. I mean, all this time we have been surrounded by people who are hungry for a place to make connections. Just never been invited before. I still remember one of the comments from the first one. The neighbor said, can anybody come to church here? And that's a no-brainer for us, but if you've never been to church and you don't know how it works, maybe it's a members only, like a country club. Can anybody come to church here? Brian.
You said we have 4,000 members at the present time.
Yes.
And we're building and you said we have a footprint in all of Sioux Falls, not just the west side. But I would say that a good percentage are probably from the west side, correct?
Yeah, I mean, certainly our largest zip code is 57106.
Yep.
Followed by 57108.
As Sioux Falls continues to grow westward, will the ELCA be putting up another church in this area that could maybe take members or slow down the membership? I know that, it's not really, but it's correlated to that as, the growth and everything else. Will there be a flatlining because of maybe a new church coming in this area?
A very interesting question. What I can answer from experience is that when Holy Cross, which started on North Marion, or Marion just where the Girl Scout building is now, kind of on the north side of Skunk Creek, and when they moved to their new location by Memorial Middle School, in some ways we kind of thought, hey, wait a minute, we have a lot of members up there. You're moving right into our neighborhood. And what we noticed when they opened up and was just booming, bringing in members left and right, we didn't slow down a bit. I mean, the mission field. The mission field is huge in Sioux Falls. ELCA churches have not been able to keep up. Since I arrived in Sioux Falls, our market share, if you want to call that, about 20% of Sioux Falls' population belong to an ELCA Lutheran church. That is probably more like 10% now. We can't build churches fast enough. I mean, we need to build churches. Churches, at least the way the Lutherans do it, are very expensive to get started. And part of what Peace is probably needing to do is to find out cheaper ways to plant congregations, because as much as we would love everybody to find their way here, everybody won't. And we need to find new ways to be present, new places to be present where we'll draw people that have never found their way to church before. But no, if another church gets planted out west, I'm going to be cheering it on, saying, yes, we need you here. We need as many seats open on a Sunday morning as we possibly can. But a Mission Start congregation is so different in the type of people they draw from a corporate size congregation that offers multiple. There's a certain type of people that comes here because of all the opportunities here, versus the pioneers that say, I want to help start a new church. So it's kind of like drawing from two different bases. David.
people coming in?
Oh, sure. I mean, on the west side, yes. When construction starts, you might not always get to come in your favorite door. But just be flexible. The south door will always be available. The east door will always be available. And at certain times, the west door will be available. Adam. That southwest door? No, that one is, the gym is going right there. There is no plans to make that accessible. Yeah. So we're going to have to move daycare. Is going to have to come in the preschool entrance on the south for a while. Okay, question.
When they start working on 41st Street to make the median,
yes,
will that take any land from us?
I would. I noticed when we've heard the city planner talk, and she was at one of these evenings with, and they certainly talked about how they took land between 41st and between Marion and the interstate. All the land they took was from the south side of the road, and unfortunately, we're on the south side of the road. Does not bode well for us. But that's because they had housing on the north side of the road. That was the reason she gave. When they get to our part, we have church and we have businesses. And it seems to me those are weighted equally. So I hope that they take from us equally when they come through here. But that next part of 41st Street, they didn't really have a timeline for that. It probably is going to be at least another 15 years before they try to widen 41st Street out in front of our place.
As far as us building, though, we did verify to what extent we can build, and that was verified against. They already knew that they were going to do the road construction, so everything that we're planning is all within the grand scheme.
They won't make us take out anything.
No,
whatever we build is grandfathered in, no matter what they decide to take away. Well, it's an exciting journey, and it has been a wild and woolly last 4 months, going through Lent and Easter without a fourth pastor and doing the building stuff on top of it. This is really our first chance to catch a breath and bring everybody up to speed. So thank you for being present here tonight and being interested enough to be knowing what is happening and when is it happening. And I think we're to that point where we can actually start getting excited about what is happening. And peace, like I said, these new pieces are going to be a game changer for the kind of ministry we can do here. And we're the lucky ones that get to be a part of it. Not every member of every church ever gets to be part of a building program like this. And to be able to participate in a tangible way in something that's going to make a difference in the lives of people to come. So we're the lucky ones that get to do that. And I feel myself fortunate that I get to be a part of all of this vision of yours that we share together. Thanks for tonight.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, everyone. In August, we're having the short notice concert. There's 2 guys and a gal that will be singing, and they've been here before, but bring friends and come on and enjoy an evening of music. It'll be good. And thanks again for coming. All this news is exciting as we're moving forward. So let's close with the Lord's Prayer, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thanks again.